Yeah, I said it. D Wade.
Oh my God, why are people going ballistic over this D Wade situation? Hold on a second, let me get what? Bro, I don't get it. I don't understand it. The D Wade story. We watched another video on this. This one's only 6 minutes. We watched another video on this, and here's what I remember from it. Okay, I remember my understanding with the D Wade situation is that like the kid, they have I guess a young trans daughter, right? Born a boy, not a boy anymore. And like, okay, so I understand the skepticism around like just transitioning with kids. I don't think that kids should ever medically transition. I think you should be like 18. But like trans kids like do exist. Okay. The problem is that I feel like we don't talk enough about detransitioners to make people comfortable about the situation. Anytime detransitioning is brought up, we just don't care. We're like, no, shut up. It's transphobic. It's like, no, there's a conversation. I have a detransition friend, and they talk about how like they got a very quick diagnosis. They're like, I think I have gender dysphoria, and they're like, okay, and they diagnose them with gender dysphoria. Very quickly affirmed it, like very quickly, which is not like a good thing. And then they ended up like detransitioning after they were on some like I think they had some hormone treatment. So like it's not, we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about like when it comes to detransitioning statistics. What do you know what we do? We look at when it comes to detransitioning statistics, we ask like it's like they ask the doctor or the surgeon that finished the transition surgery, like, do they regret it? And they're like, no. And it's like, okay, but like that's not detransitioning can happen throughout any spot can detransitioning can happen, and it's going to be different based on what how far transitioned you are, you know. So here's my understanding is that this kid, when they were young, identified, and by the way, like if you ask trans people, they'll usually tell you that they knew they were trans from like a very young age. Oh my God. Okay. We're good. I should have expected somebody to bring this up. We'll talk about it really quick now. Yeah, there's also no research going on to see if transitioning is truly the right treatment for gender dysphoria because suicide rates are still the same after transitioning. Okay, so I just want you to understand something. I know what you're saying. Here's the problem. Okay. If you looked at the data for fully transitioning to what we consider passability, I guarantee you that the suicide attempt rates go down drastically. When we talk about suicide attempt rates and when we talk about transitioning, we talk about it like in a very loose perspective. The majority of trans people are what you'd consider like non-passing. They don't usually get the medical treatment or gender affirming care that they need to be like fully passable. There's also a level of like their unrealistic expectations set on their passability, but it's costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars to get all the surgeries you need. You know, it depends on the person, but the most part, it's like you need top surgery, bottom surgery, like facial reconstruction surgeries, which is multiple surgeries on the face, like voice box surgeries, like hairline surgeries. Like you need a lot of different things. And so when we say somebody's transitioned and the suicide attempt rates stay the same, well, do they? Or like, what is our definition of transition? Because most people haven't finished a transition. Like I guarantee if you look at somebody like Caitlyn Jenner or like Samantha Lux or like, who's the conservative? Why can't I ever think of her name? You know who I'm talking about? Blair White. You know, they're probably very happy, right? They're probably pretty happy because they fully transitioned to what you consider like passability. So they're not struggling as much as other people. So we don't have like a good metric on that study because I would argue that like transitioning is the way to go. It's just a lack of availability of like being able to fully transition, right? So that's probably the biggest thing that I would say when it comes down to those. Those are very like misguided statistics. There's also an argument to be made that like gender dysphoria is associated with other mental health conditions like chronic anxiety and chronic depression. And when you're very depressed, this is like an interesting phenomenon. When you're very depressed, you don't have any energy, and what happens is as you get better and your depression gets better based on the medication you're choosing, and if you have gender dysphoria and you're transitioning, you're going to feel better. It's not a light switch; it's on and off. It's like it's a dimmer switch. So it's like you're getting better, but you're also having the higher energy. So you're still depressed, but you have more energy, and so like you have the energy to take your own life. I know that sounds horrible, but it's something that some people experience. So there's multiple factors when it comes to that transitioning argument. I will say that there are some people with gender dysphoria. I've talked to like a trans like doctor, therapist, where like the solution isn't to transition. Sometimes the solution is to actually identify with your born sex. It depends on the person. That's usually an outlier. It really depends on the person. So anyway, back to the D Wade situation. With D Wade's kid, it seemed like from the story that I looked into when we watched like another video on this, and I never posted it because I was like, this is ridiculous, but maybe we'll do this one. I don't know. When we watched the video, it seemed like he had what I would consider the correct trajectory for having a trans kid, right? I think that one thing a lot of people are skeptical of is like if your kid says they're trans, like let's say like 4 years old, I think our biggest fear is somebody who says, yeah, you are. And the parents lean into it. So you have a young boy and they say that they're a girl and you're like, oh yeah, you are. And then they start buying them Barbie dolls and they start like getting them dresses and they start doing this. And they really lean into the identity to the point where like the kid's confused by the time they're older. That's obviously wrong. But I think that like the way I would deal with it, and I think this is the way the parents should deal with it, is like if your 4-year-old says that they're a boy or a girl when they're biologically not, you say okay, or you say no, you're not, and you don't even give it attention, and then you just see what happens. And if the kid continuously does that for let's say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they keep doing it without some kind of like a heavy outside influence, because like just hearing about trans people online isn't going to make them want to like fully transition. But like then then maybe it's time to start like paying attention. And so like what I would say as a kid under 18 is like you go to a therapist, see if they can root it out, and then maybe have them socially transition, right? Nothing crazy. Not medically transition, but socially. It's like you're just dressing differently and presenting a bit differently. It's not that big of a deal, I don't think. And you let the kid experiment, and maybe they'll grow out of it, or maybe that is their true identity. If we operated in that capacity, because I think I mentioned it before, I don't remember because we got like a sidetrack with that one argument. Like a lot of trans people know that they're trans when they're younger, but also a kid, like a boy, might just like they might just like long hair, or maybe they just like dresses. I don't know. It's kind of gay, but whatever. Or maybe they, so it doesn't mean that they're a girl just because they might like girl things. Like for all we know, a guy, like a young boy, might like a Barbie doll and be like, I'm a girl. They might think you have to be a girl to like Barbie. It's like, no, you can be a boy and like Barbie. Oh, okay. And then like you can't have a Barbie though, and then you hit him with the Barbie and you push him down the stairs. I'm just kidding. But there's a lot of things here, and I think it's best to generally let kids kind of experiment with themselves for the most part. And from what I've seen, it seems like D Wade has gone through that process. That's my understanding of the situation. So with all of that, like an insane amount of pretext, let's get into this video.
Yeah, I said it. D Wade failed his son.
Okay. How brave of you to say something that like everybody in your sphere is saying. Very brave.
This video is brought to you by the Tatum store. Fathers matter. Fathers really do matter. And that's the one reason why I'm wearing this shirt in this video, because I do believe fathers matter, and I'm going to show you how important it is.
We have to have, like, men need to stop leaving their children's lives. You don't have to be a good husband to be a good father. You know what I mean? You can leave your wife. I don't give a shit about that, but be a good father. Be there for your kid.
If you want to get this shirt on the website, put in discount code United We Stand. You get 20% off. United We Stand. One word, 20% off. You can get this. You better get it now because it's.
Hold on, I'm assuming it's in reference to D Wade.
Fast. If it sells out by the time you see this, just hit notify me when made available, and we'll restock it. We'll have it to you within a week or so. So I love you guys. Appreciate you. Enjoy the video. Now let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies. D Wade failed his son. He failed his son. I don't care what nobody say. Don't ask me no questions.
Well, I'm gonna ask. All I wanted to ask is questions, because I don't know if I agree with that.
I want to hear nothing that you got to say other than D Wade.
My understanding is he didn't even like accept the transition, or he didn't even accept the identity until the kid was like older, like in their 10s, and which I know is not that old, but if your kid's been saying since 4 years old that they're a fucking girl, then maybe there's something to it. Go see a therapist. Like D Wade seems like a guy who's really, even said he was like really skeptical about it, so he didn't just like jump right into it. You know what I mean? Which is the way that you should be skeptical of that, because like nobody wants to be fucking trans, and you should, like, honestly, I would never want my kid to be trans. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Like, if I have a trans kid, I'm going to accept them. I'm going to love them. But like, you're just like, I don't want my kid to be trans, because that's just going to have a higher outcome of them having a more difficult life. Like, why the fuck would I want that for my kid? So of course I wouldn't want them to be trans. So I understand the hesitation and the fear, but like, it does get to a point where like, if your kid's consistently for years being like, I'm a girl, like, maybe you take them to a fucking therapist and see what you can root out the situation, and give them what to make them the happiest.
Wade done failed his son. Why do you say that, Mr. Tatum? What indeed is this?
This is so funny. I remember when I watched the video. So apparently this is Dave Wade's son, which is a trans girl, and this is somebody else's kid, which is a trans boy. So like, even if you're transphobic, this technically it equals itself out. Okay, like if you either think girl boy or boy girl, it still works. It's totally fine. It works out. Like it works itself out. It counters it out. Okay.
What is this? What?
It's just two 14-year-olds kissing. It's not that big of a deal. Why are you censoring it? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's a little weird. I don't want to watch a 14-year-old fucking kiss, but like, it's not like that weird. Like when I was 14, I had like a little girlfriend and I smooched my little girlfriend. That's like some like fucking cringe shit that kids do. Why is this like a meltdown?
So if some of y'all don't know, D-Wade didn't let his boy Ray grow up and turn into a girl. Okay. Now, I get it to a certain degree. I disagree with it. I think it's of the devil. But if you were...
I get it, but I think it's fucking the devil. Holy shit. Yeah, this guy's insane. I like him though. I watched him on some stuff. I disagree with like everything he says, but I appreciate the honesty. You know what I mean?
Or just if your child really had this dysphoria, according to what you're saying, D-Wade, then you wanted to do what's best.
I imagine it's like what the doctor says, but okay.
For your child to make sure they don't grow up confused and you allow them to live their way through whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
But that's not what you're doing, bro.
What is he
doing? Got the boy out here kissing another trans boy.
What? Wait, why is this the point of contention for you? Like, so you're like, hey, I don't agree with trans shit, but like, I get you're trying to make your kid happy, but why are they kissing? I just want you guys to know, and this is a very uncomfortable thing, and nobody really wants to admit it, but like young kids, like they want to experience like the same affections as like adults. They're just too fucking dumb to do it. So like they kiss each other. It's not a big deal. Two 14-year-olds kissing. I'm not fucking killing myself over it. Like it's not a big deal. I don't want to watch it. I think it's uncomfortable. Yeah, maybe you could be like, it's a little weird for them to put it up on social media. That's totally fine. But like, why is it fundamentally an issue? Like if these kids weren't trans, would you be fucking killing? Like, would you be melting down right now? Or like, it just feels like you're looking for something to kind of like disagree with here.
You ain't just letting them live. You're thrusting them into a sexual misconduct situation.
How? What the fuck are you talking about? They're kissing.
That ain't right, bruh. This ain't right. This ain't let live and...
Oh, maybe he's concerned they pressured him to kiss? Okay, I don't think that you can... I don't think that you can assert that that's definitely true. But if his argument is I think that they force these two to kiss for the camera to put it on social media so that they can virtue signal to the world that they're woke, then that's a good, that would be a decent, that's a reasonable argument to make. I don't think that you can, like, because for all we know, they wanted to kiss and they're like, I want to kiss. Can we put it on social media? And the parents are like, sure, whatever. You know, but like, yeah, okay. If that's like his concern, it's a reasonable concern. It's not really provable though. But okay.
Live. You are thrusting this boy into a sexualized state because when you 14 years old, what you doing this?
It's like normal for 14-year-olds. I'm just letting you know, like it's not that uncommon.
What you doing this right here? Then they posting it all on their social media. You ain't got no, man. When I was
like I remember like 8-year-old boys and girls like smooching each other on the lips, like a little while, like, oh, it's your boyfriend. Kiss him on the lips, kiss him on the cheek, like some dumb weird shit. I mean, I guess that's weird, but like I feel like this just isn't. This isn't news. This 14, isn't an issue.
Ain't no way on God's green earth. My daddy. First of all, I'm gonna have some girlfriend coming over the house. That ain't gonna happen. But
well, it sounds like you have very strict parents. So like that's a you. Okay, so your issue right now. The way that you're saying, I don't think that it is true. Like you're claiming to remove like the trans aspect from it and say like, I just think that this is inappropriate fundamentally, which might be true, but I feel like you're kind of hamming it up because it's a trans kid and you want to kind of just shit on them regardless. But like you having strict morals, like for instance, if I had a 14-year-old, I don't think I would let them kiss and put on the internet. Okay, I don't even think I'd let them have a fucking Instagram. To be honest with you, I think that's toxic. To be very clear, I don't think I'm gonna have my kid let them have like any real social media because I think if social media is toxic. But that's not like a trans issue. That's like a parental issue. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't take that logic. I wouldn't take that moral set and force it on other people and think that they're horrible parents for letting their kids have social media. Okay, that's like the way that I would come at it more than anything else.
If I somehow had a girlfriend, we ain't gonna be doing this at 14 in front of my parents. We kissing. Let me tell you this. This has nothing to do with gender identity. This is sexualization of minors.
I disagree. I don't think it's like sexualization of minors. Okay.
That's what this is.
It's just two kids kissing. It's not that big of a fucking deal. I think if anything, it's like a virtue signal, like from the parents.
Just because you feel like you a girl, don't mean you got to be doing this. And the funny.
Wait, what is that? Wait, so dude, okay, so you're kind of like exposing yourself. He's like, this has nothing to do with gender identity, and then he says this.
That's what this is. Just because you feel like you a girl, don't mean you got to be doing this.
What does that have to do with anything? What does the being a girl have to do with anything? Are we getting into like this? Are you trying to like relay the subtextual argument or like stereotype of like over sexualization in like the LGBTQ community, because that's like a whole another like level of woke transphobia. Like I don't understand. Like what are you talking about? What or are you trying to suggest that like that community is pedophilic in some capacity? Like what are you saying here? It feels like you're trying to say something. Let's see what else. Yeah, let's say.
And the funny thing is that from what I've heard, this little boy was a girl and turned into a boy.
Yeah, so it's straight technically. So who cares?
They pretty much doing the same thing, but just reversing it. At the end of the day, you a boy with a girl.
Yeah, so you should be fine with it. What the fuck's the problem?
You just look like a boy and you want to look like a girl, but you with a boy with a girl.
Okay. Wow.
Men, that's why you need to be strong in your children's lives, and you need to be a capable man.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a nugget of wisdom in this video that
I feel like I'm sure there's an environmental and a social, or an environmental. There's probably 3 factors for being trans. There's probably an environmental factor, a biological factor, and then there's also probably like a womb factor. I know that sounds really weird, but there's studies that suggest that like being gay, and I know that trans people aren't gay necessarily, but being gay, it's something that might happen within the womb, and they get that from the fact that every successive male that's born from the same mother has a higher chance of being gay. It's like something that's like objectively observed, right? So there might be those 3 factors. I would argue that it would have to take like an intense social situation to like make somebody trans in the sense of having gender dysphoria. So for the most part, there's probably some kind of biological aspect there. Maybe there's like a brain chemistry thing. It's probably different based on different people. Maybe it's like a womb thing. Maybe there's like an estrogen versus testosterone level thing. I don't really know, but I think that most trans people probably like know from being young. And I don't think that you can just condition the behavior out of people. I don't think that that's a thing that you can do. I don't think you can condition it without beating the shit out of them or repressing them and making them want to be suicidal, which is probably something that some people would do. I just don't think that the magic solution is to say, no, stop it, and then it goes away. You know, we tried that with gay people, and then it doesn't make anybody less gay. It just makes them more angry. And if anything, if we're going to talk about the sexualization, specifically amongst like gay men, I mean, part of that sexualization comes from the fact that like gay men were forced to date other women or women and then have kids. And so like, what do they do? Once a week or once a month, they go to a gay bar and they just fuck. Because like, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna fuck, boom. And like maybe that culture kind of like, you know, that might have just kind of maintained itself. Or maybe there's an aspect of like men just tend to be more sexually driven, so they're just fucking. I don't really know. But like repressing trans people is just not the right thing to do.
That I wanted to reserve for my speeches moving forward is that when you fly on an airplane and they say if we lose cabin pressure,
okay,
you need to put your mask on before assisting other people, even before your children.
Yes, it's true.
Why is that significant, Mr. Tatum?
I went to Disney, so I know that as well.
It's because you need to get whatever's damaged in you fixed before you try to implement that on other people. Why? Because if you're broken, you can't help nobody else.
Why is D Wade broken? What's happening here?
If you don't put the oxygen on, you pass out. You're not going to be able to help your kids. If you are not a functional father and you are damaged on the inside, don't have no kids.
What is? But what can I just? How is he damaged? Can you just explain that to me?
And if you happen to have kids, get your together first. Get your together. So you can be.
He's like pressing a button as he says. That's kind of funny.
Kids, get your together first.
Why you gotta press the button? He said he presses the button to bleep the word shit, and then he mouths. He's like, "Get your together," and he says, "Beep." It's like, what are you doing?
Get your together, so you can then secure your life and then secure the children who you have given birth to.
So how is he damaged though? That's a question.
Don't do your kids like this. I'm telling you guys, this is not about identifying as a gender. This is about sexual exploitation of minors.
I think that you're kind of like subtextually reinforcing this idea of like pedophilia in the LGBTQ community. 2 kids kissing is like, I don't know why you find that so sexy. Like, it's just weird to me. I don't think it's sexy. I mean, like, hold on. Did you link it in the bio? Did you link the Instagram? It's all censored. Let's see. It'll become an issue if they're tongue kissing. Let's see here. It doesn't seem to, it's weird. It definitely looks weird. All right, I can see why you have the censor. But it doesn't look like they're tongue kissing though. They're just fucking. It doesn't look like they're regular. It looks like they're smushing their faces together like dumb fucking kids. But okay.
Say this and I'm done. I promise. Right now, this look cute because they little, right? These are little people. He probably 5'8" or something.
Wait, what?
And they tricking him and they making him feel like he can be a girl. Maybe he feels like a girl when he's 5'8". When this boy grow up, he gonna be 6'8" or something with a 22 shoe. Toes gonna be hanging on the ground off the high heel, dragging, walking in high heels with your.
Oh, so you're saying that he's gonna be a goofy looking girl? You don't see the problem with that? You're just saying that they're gonna be an ugly girl. Like that's kind of shitty. If anything, what you're saying is advocating for them to go on hormone blockers and go through estrogen to have like a female like puberty instead of a male puberty, so that they don't have that growth spurt. That's all you're saying. Also, you said it was cute, which is a little bit suspicious. It sounds like it does kind of sound like you're sexualizing this a little bit. It's cute now. I'm just kidding. But it's like, honestly, if you think about it, like you're the one saying it, it's a little weird.
Knuckles dragging. Just like this. Look at Knuckles gonna be like this on the end of that heel, dragging on the ground.
Jesus Christ.
Shoulders gonna be this big. Hands gonna be this big.
Okay.
Ain't nobody gonna think you a little girl. They gonna look at you and say, God, dog, homeboy dressing like a girl. You're gonna be the biggest girl in America. Ain't no man.
That sounds kind of like societal shaming. I mean, this is a weird argument because your argument's like society doesn't like this thing, so you shouldn't be this thing. I mean, fundamentally applies to like literally anything. You know, like society doesn't like that. You should stop doing that. You know, like if society hated Christianity, would you still be a Christian? You know what I mean? Like society's going to hit you with adversity, so you shouldn't do that thing. Like that's what you're saying. So like if we all hated Christianity, by this logic, by your own logic, all I need to say is like, bro, if you're a Christian, society doesn't like that anymore. You should stop it. That's cringe, bro. We're going to make fun of you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like very comparable.
Man gonna want you. Ain't no man gonna want you. They setting him up for the twist.
Terrible.
They setting him up. As a father, you should see this and say, you know, let me work.
Yeah, that's what you should do is bully your kid till they kill themselves. Like that's totally a better idea.
Work with him because when he get bigger, there's no more girly stuff. He's gonna be big like a man.
Or maybe she'll grow out of it. Who knows? Maybe this kid will grow out of it once they start hitting a puberty. Maybe the testosterone production will be like, you know what? I am a man. I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
And I don't care how much hormones you take, you ain't gonna be able to stop that bone structure.
I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I think that like an overwhelming majority of like your advantages come from like the male puberty, and like that's from what my understanding, because we're looking at the transgender sports shit, and we're like, and it's like that's the male puberty is where like the real biologic advantage like comes from. Is like that male puberty is like really drives it home. I'm not saying there's no differences between like not like prepubescent boys and girls, because I think maybe the boys are a little bit more strong. I don't really know though. But like, yeah, like the male puberty is a big thing. So if they theoretically if they block the puberty, there's a higher chance of this kid being a lot more feminine. So
these dudes be turning into girls, jawline thicker than, stronger than mine. You can't fix a jaw. Now I don't know. Maybe they can.
Well, you can. There's facial reconstruction surgery, and they have the money. So this kid's probably going to be happy because they're going to have the financial access to gender affirming care. But
do surgeries. But for the average person, you ain't fixing that jawline. You ain't fixing them hands.
That's true.
If I turn into a girl, how you gonna fix this hand right here?
Yeah, but again, they haven't hit puberty yet, so
I got a big old hand. Some girl shake my hand and they hand thick.
It's so fucked up though, because it's like one of the things is like when I look at a trans person, like okay, listen. When I look at people, sometimes I look at their hands. So if I see a girl with big hands, and I'm like, okay, this might be a trans girl, because they do have big fucking hands, all right, and big feet. I'm not trying to be a dickhead. I'm not trying to be a fucking asshole. It's just something to observe. You know what I mean? It's just a thing, and it actually is an advantage in sports too, having big hands. So, unfortunately, we have to, can't let trans women in sports because they'll displace cis women. Sorry, it's just unfortunate, bro.
Thick and big like my hand. We already know what she was doing last year. She probably was a man. Anyway, comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about what D-Wade doing to his boy. This ain't right. I love you guys. Anyway, links in the description section. See you on the next one. I'm out.
I don't know. I feel like this video is like really lazy. Like I disagree with your points, but you didn't even really make a point. You said that this was too sexy and cute. No, but you were like, okay, which I don't really think. I think if they were cisgendered, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't even bother caring. And then you said that D-Wade was damaged, and like that's fine. Just can you tell me how? But you didn't spend any of your time in their video like substantiating any claim. You just kind of talked and you said, this is gross, gay people or trans people, yuck. You know, I would have liked to seen like a more like fleshed out argument rather than like knowing that this is a trend you can jump on, and you know people and they're gonna go like, yeah, I agree with this. I've seen so many other videos about this, because that's what it feels like. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.